years. And let's see what has been the development, the roles of traditional institutions as custodian of culture and tradition of their domain. And like I said, we have a guest in the studio who will be joining us in doing justice to the conversation this morning. Prince Razak Ayinla. Yes, I will not forget to put that Prince there. Yes, I don't want someone to find me after the program. Prince Razak Ayinla is here, the public affairs analyst. Thank you for being part of the show.
It's nice to be here. Good morning, our viewers. Good morning. It's nice to be here this morning.
Thank you. And straight to business. We are talking about traditional institutions in Ogun State and developmental history. Development is all-encompassing when you're talking about development, and it requires people's input. Whether be you a civil servant, you make your impact, be you, as an individual, there is what you should do to make your own contribution. But going to the traditional institution now, what do you think has been the situation going back 50 years? Even if you cannot say, okay, 50 years since the existence of Ogun State, but at least you can talk about what has been the development and the role of traditional institutions. Do you think they are also, contributing as expected?
Yeah, traditional institutions, if you look at them, even before Ogun State, they're even older than Nigeria. I'm very lucky to have been born in a place that had government before Nigeria. If you look at Egba as a nation, we had government in 1889 called Egba United Government. This is far older than Nigeria, that was even born in 1914. By Lord Lugard with the name of Nigeria. So you could see that Egba as a nation, we had government even before Nigerian government. Then Ogun State, created in 1976. That tells you that we've been having traditional institutions even before Ogun State and Nigeria. And this gave a kind of a precursor to the governance or the government that we are seeing now. Because whether we like it or not, even the colonial masters had to use our hobas, our obis, our emirs under their indirect rule when they came to Nigeria. And that time, there was only like government, not formal government at that time. It was the ingenuity of these monarchs, our Baba, our referred Oba, like Alaafin Oyo, like Sanwo Ogbomoso, like Timi of Ede, like Alaki of Ibaland, like these were what they actually gave. They are the ones that gave template to the government and governance. If we did not have their template, we wouldn't have had government that we are having now. So, because they were very, very important at that time. That was the reason why colonial masters, when they came to Nigeria, they were looking for them. Because they know that they couldn't have ruled Nigeria successfully if they did not carry along the traditional institutions. And they were part and parcel of their government, to the extent that at the time they were creating the House of Lords in Ibadan, they had our orders as part and parcel of the members making valuable contributions to governance and government. So at that time, we respected them more than what we are having now. Because if you look at what happened at that time, they had a say in how their domain, in how Nigeria, in how Western region of that time were governed. But this time around, because of the reform that was done by Baba Sonjo and Moritala in 1978, they now put them under local government. What that means is that they don't have power more than local government. So, which I think, that is the problem that we're having now. We need to put them as part and parcel of government. Because Baba Tinubu is in Abuja as Nigerian government president. He can never be in Ake. It can never be in Sokoto. It can never be in Maduguri at the same time. He's going to delegate authority to some people. You will get delegate authority to people and have your eyes closed if you have traditional institutions in place. Because they know their terrain. it will very hard for my Baba in Ake, in Owu, in Okiono, and in Dagua not to know their terrain, not to know who are living at any point in time. But when you don't carry them along in whatever you want to do, that will not be okay. And that is why you could see that our governor, Prince Napabiodo, is the chairman of the Southern Governor. When they met late last year at Peru, when they had a meeting of all the governors of 17 states, they had to include all the urbans because they know insecurity cannot be fought by them alone. They need all these urbans to actually guide their domain so that they can win this war of terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, because they know it can't be in Okimoso and cover the whole of the state. It needs all these urbans to guide and protect their domain.
Prince, thank you so much. And we don't want to, like, where you trying to, direct your points to. Yes, it's a good one to understand the fact that there has been government in the palace. Governance has been carried out by the traditional rulers. Yes, and this in no means it had helped, growing their domain, or let's say the society as a whole. Because when you look at the influence of these traditional rulers, it goes a long way in the minds of the people. There are times that whatever they say, have effect on the people, but we are having a kind of a change in that narrative now. Okay, how effective has it been when you want to look at the history, 50 years of the creation of states and modernization? You want to impute modernization into this, we are developing by the day, everything is changing. Okay, how effective can you say the collaboration between traditional institutions and modern government structures? Government has come with another structure different from what we used to have before, the creation of a state, before we start practicing, government. How can you, look at it and analyze what has been the effectiveness of the collaboration of the institution, the traditional institution, and of course the structure of modern government?
We've been having very good collaboration, because even if you look at UK, that we are using as a yardstick, till today they still have traditional institutions as part and parcel of government. In UK today, they are having monarchical orders. What that means is that even if they have parliamentary system of government, they infuse the monarchical order into it, to the extent that you can only have the prime minister as the head of government, but we have the queen or king as the head of state. So that is what is practicable over there, and you can see that UK today is one of the highest, one of the best countries of the world. So if it can actually fuse it together, I'm not saying you should not do democracy, because even monarchy is the oldest governance in the whole world. So we should find a way of fuse together the system of government and monarchical order, so that the two will go side by side and we'll be able to have good governance. That is what I think we should do.
Thank you, Prince. I want to quickly, like I said earlier, there are saying that you cannot actually bat people's head behind them or in their back. So we are talking about traditional institution, and we cannot do justice to this topic without having somebody from that constituency, somebody from that department to talk to us on the topic today. So we'll go for this short break while we have Oba Kolawole Sowemimo. Yes, in order not to, help them blow their trumpet, we need to allow them blow it themselves, and that is why we have Oba Kolawole Sowemimo in the studio. Let him come and talk to us. Yes, the topic is traditional institution in Ogun State developmental history, and it goes a long way to say that you're talking about such topic, and you will not have somebody representing the constituency, or let me say, to talk to us about it. So that's why I want to welcome in the studio today Oba Kolawole Sowemimo, the Olu of Owodegba. Thank you for joining us, Kabir. Yes, Kabesi, you came in and we've been talking about the topic of discussion, and it's really about the traditional institution in Ogun State and the developmental history. Ogun is 50 years, and since 50 years, you know that there's been a lot of development that people have been talking about. Now, as a traditional institution, a lot has happened. There's a lot you want to talk about. Yes, our other guest, Prince Razak Ayinla, have been talking about the fact that even before the existence of, the modern structure of government, we've been having monarchical structure where, we have the traditional rulers taking charge of government and the governance of their domain. So how has it been since the creation of Ogun State, since 1976?
Thank you for having me. I will not lie to you, this is Ogun State, one of the best states in Nigeria, where civilization comes from. Now, in traditional aspect of it, we have three paramount rulers. We have our own father, the Alaki of Egbaland, the paramount ruler of Egbaland. We have our Baba, the Akaribu, which is the paramount ruler of Uremo. And we have our Papa in Jebu, that is the paramount ruler of Jebu land. And lastly, we have our father at Iwa, Oba Olubiri, that's the paramount ruler. It's divided into four. Each paramount, each traditional council will get instructions from the government, and from the government too, we have council of Obas, which is under the government. So as the governor wants to spread any information to our domain, they have 20 members from each council representing their council. Therefore, the message will be passed through them. We will discuss about it in our council, different councils, and things have been going on well with us. The government have played their part. They have played a good role advising. In the meeting that we normally have, like Egba, we have our own council meeting the third Friday of every month. From there, the paramount ruler, who is the president of our own council, they ask us what is going on in our domain, and we explain. The one who wants him to help us pass to the government, we will surely do that for us. The state is going on well. I will not lie to you. And at the same time, they always say, Obamewa is Bamewa. Like my brother rightly said. He said, before the government took over, is the traditional institution that is controlling the community, because we are the closest party to them. Therefore, now things is changing, civilization is on board, everybody have to obey the system. We have to obey the law that the government, each state, they want us to follow. Therefore, as for me, things is going on smoothly.
Thank you, Kabesi.
Okay, let me just fire the first shot because I've been waiting for you to come. But I'll start from where you stopped. He said that we have traditional rulers, the monarchical order, even before independence, and everyone knows that. Because there is this saying that before the advent of corn, chicken has been feeding. Now, let's talk about why and what is it that makes our traditional rulers to be under the law? Because they've been in existence even before the law. So why is it now that it is the law that is being used to even guide them, or they are being put under government? And they're supposed to be the ones that will even be like consultants to those in government. But that is not so anymore. If there is a traditional ruler that can obey maybe the governor of the state or anyone, you will definitely know. And that kind of a traditional ruler is going to have a problem. So now, let's talk about that.
Life is funny. What really happens there is abuse of power. In the olden days, we had the news how the others are abusing their power e.g., they will say Obagbese Liyawo Niyawo and all that stuff.
Okay.
Abuse of power, you know, Kabiyesi can do anything wherever he likes that time. Therefore, there must be a law to checkmate everybody, even the governor. There's a law checkmating them. If they overdo anything, we'll be hearing about the impeachment and all that stuff. Even the president, you know, it's just check and balance due to abuse of power. That is how we get to where we are today. And at the same time, it's anything that is too common, you know, you expect it will lose its value. There's a lot of cabbages everywhere now. Even some areas that doesn't even qualify to have one. You will see them there. You know, and to me, when we are talking about cabbages, like me, I'm a Ballot, I was upgraded to cabbages, part two to first class over. You know, from there, you know, you're supposed to be graduating, learning. You know, what we do under Ballot is something different when you get promoted. It's like a police officer, a sergeant promoted to inspector. His lifetime will have to change and everything has to change with the staff. But lately now, I'm not happy, I will not lie to you about that. But I give it to my paramount ruler, which is Babalaki. He's advising us 24/7 at the meeting. It's not good to see Kabiyesi taking people's land and all that stuff, all that stupid abuse. You know, limitation. Like this morning as I was coming the radio, I heard that they said some group of chief and princesses or prince took a lot for law to court about we Oba going to party. We apply to every one of us. You know, we should just reduce whatever we are doing. We should not be too common everywhere, going to party, you know, we're losing the value. You know, it's abuse of power that leads us to where we are today.
Okay. You have something to say to that?
Yeah, the Traditional Council are the custodian of our culture and tradition. And they are the landlord. The governor or president or anybody elected will come and go. They will remain. And why I think, or what I think we should do, because it's very clear. At the time when these people were holding the sway, they were controlling us before the government. They were running what we call absolute monarchical order. That you cannot query the order of Oba. But this time around, we'll be made to know the evolution has changed everything. Even if you go to England, the king in England is a constitutional monarchy. So we are going to have a law that will checkmate them. And that's the reason everybody is under the law. Nobody, even the president, is under the law. So I see more effort of government to ensure that we have some law that will regulate the doings of Oba, because it is unspeakable when the president and princesses who have to take their life into court to regulate the way he behaves. So I think there must be that already on ground, because some people abuse power. So we need to get this so that it will check them, because even with the government is being checked by law. So there must be law that's checking social institutions in order not to abuse power or not to overdo or not to go beyond their boundaries.
All right, thank you.
Please, going forward, I want to just come in there from that, you know, your contribution. Should you say, or do you think that the traditional institution be given more constitutional roles rather than, you know, allowing them influence their domain with their, you know, remain with their advisory role? You know, pre-colonial, they do more of influencing, you know, taking how do I put it? They are the ones, they were always in charge. Pre-colonial, they were in charge. But of course now we have a situation that has changed. They are now under the law, you know. But do you think they should be given more constitutional rules, or they should allow them, you know, work in their domain and remain in the advisory role, you know, talking to government, okay, Your Excellency, this is missing in my domain, this is the way to go, this has been the right way to get to the people, and, you know, make these things work fine and enhance development.
I think middle class is the one to be blamed. They are doing hide and seek game. In 2027 our election will come. no governor,
then they will
no president will win without going to presidential institutions, and because they win the election from them. But after they win the election, they will neglect them. I see them to play a role of even contributing to, for which I want to commend our governor. So even the budgeting, they need to be submitting proposal about budgeting, so that will tell them what they need in their domain. They should be considered. It's not enough for you to say, I want to do it. You need to go and meet them and ask them questions before you do it. And I want to give it to our governor. I think he's doing that. That is why he's calling on town hall for him to do budget. So we need to commend him. It has to go across board. Local government chairmen, governors across the state, they need to involve Emir, Oba, Obi. They must be part and parcel of the government. For you to, in fact, it is the failure of them that causes Boko Haram. It is the failure of them that causes insurgency. Because if all these Obas can stand, there won't be anything in their domain that will cause problem for us. You need to empower them. You need to get them in governance more so that you control the insecurity, you get them done. And that is what they are doing. When they had a meeting at the Peru recently, they had to call all the others to be involved in the insecurity management so that they will do that region approach in correcting anomalies within that space. That is good going forward.
Okay. Let me just start from what you said, that the traditional rulers should be more involved and empowered. Now, you said that we should empower the traditional. You know that before, there is no traditional ruler that will not have power. Even president.
Because they have their army. Because they have their army at that time.
No, yes, not just army. Not just army. Traditional rulers are not just human beings. We see them as God. Yes. Because we cannot just be an Oba without being powerful in those days. But you know, Kabiyesi mentioned something that there are some Obas that are not supposed to be Obas these days. It is this generation that you will see Obas that will be fighting in the public, Obas that will be involved in fraud, Obas that will be the leader of kidnappers and so many other vices like that. So now, when we now have these issues, we know that those things, I can say that come to stay, because there has been ways the people have been suggesting curbing them, and still they are still. So okay, you don't agree with that. All right, now that's where I want to ask that. Do you think that there will be solutions to this thing? Because I'm coming. You know, then before an Oba can be enthroned, it is the Ifa that they will use. But these days we even realize that even Ifa does not want to pick a poor person. Or if I cannot pick somebody that have no backup, you understand what I'm saying?
Financial backup.
Yes, especially. So now, how do we really have the real traditional ruler that even if we just move one of his feet like this, the whole country can disappear? You understand what
I understand what you're saying. I need to tell you something. That is a version of what we see in our society that corrupts even the throne and the power. I want to tell you that there's nothing like if I is still in control. It's only people don't understand. I will tell you why I is in control.
Okay. I
was when we were divided into two.
Okay.
I was part and parcel of the princes that are in Itoko, in Idiosho. I grew up at Itoko. But despite that I grew up at Itoko, every time we go to Okeido to learn how they do in Ballot, because my granny will tell us, you might be about tomorrow. So we need to learn about all this.
The process.
Quite a number of people did not care. Quite a number of people will just go abroad, will just go and bring them abroad to be king. How do you want such to do well on the throne? You need to start from the beginning. Teach them the way of reality. Teach them the way the prince and princess should do, and all that. So apart from that, whenever they want to go for back election, if I'm still in control, a prince is a prince, whether you like it or not. They are going to consult the oracle. Everybody is qualified to be king. But it is now left for the Afabajes, the kingmaker, to choose among those they presented. For me now, we don't have Oba on the throne in Bagua now. I am qualified to contest.
That's where I said
I am qualified to contest.
Okay.
But if they do, in fact, Oracle might not pick me directly. But definitely it will pick one of them and say all of them are qualified to be. But this one is Iboeleyi Okudurelo. That means he is most qualified. So it is now left for over there to now change what the first thing that okay, you are the most qualified. But because of the fact that
I don't think I want to agree with what you're saying.
So that's why I'm saying that they still consult IFA and everybody is qualified to be.
But you can still change the No, I want stability. Let me say something about what he's saying here. Of course, I don't want to mislead us. Oh my God! Calm down. Because we have the you know what? Sometimes you say that Oracle can pick and the Afobajers too can change it. No! Because
they don't change it. What I'm saying is
just relax. Calm down. Just calm down. See, in as much as I want to agree that okay, all the princes have access to the they are qualified. But the only thing is when what from the history and what I have said, once if I pick someone, there could be so many princes and that will be brought to the Oracle. And once it picks someone, even if the person is a poor farmer somewhere, they will have to go down there and bring the person. It doesn't have to do whether he is rich or not, whether he has the wisdom or not. But society is the Oracle that
that was the kingmaker of yesteryear.
So that's what I'm saying now. Why is it that we cannot blend that tradition with the development now? If we want progress, yes, if we want progress and we want the real traditional institution is to come back, then we have to involve the tradition, real traditions that we know. Because we need kings that can say, okay, there is war somewhere, oh yeah, I decree that war should stop right there now from his throne, even without being there. You know those days they have the power. Kabiyesi, I want you to just say something. Why is it that the Obas of these days, all they know is money, they are educated, they don't want to go into the deeper knowledge of the tradition that will make them to be king indeed? Because that is what we need.
I know in the Bible.
You're laughing. Okay.
In the Bible, David was in the farm.
Yes.
Before God.
He was a shepherd now.
Yeah. Whoever that will become a king, whether by street or day, whatever, God will surely support him. There is nothing you do without the permission of God. Whether you take the back door or the front door. It depends on you the way you do it. In the Bible, we should remember King Nebuchadnezzar. God just let him be. He wants to teach us certain things. We want people to learn from something. When the power was intoxicated with the power, he started misbehaving that there is no God. And we should remember what happened to him. And after he realized, he came back to the truth. God always put someone there for a purpose, for people to learn. You understand? You may think somebody is not qualified and maybe one way or the other, and we get there and behave very smart and good. And then the people, they even say, this is the person in fact. It depends. It's not God. It depends. People always say, Obamewa. It depends on you.
I think the issue here is the institution is traditional institution. Yes. But to an extent, we have been able to take away the tradition out of the institution. It should be traditional institution, but modernization has taken away what should be traditional in it. Taking for example His Excellency apologies for Engineer Sheyi Makinde of Oyo State. There were, you know, several issues, you know, discussions in every quarter that, you know, he kind of installed Alas personally without consulting the Afrobages. The Oracle did not select him. And, you know, we now in the modern age that a traditional ruler can be installed even in the office of the governor of the state. That has been the situation now. So it's like we're taking tradition out of the traditional institution. And don't forget, I want to take you back a bit, Prince. You said something earlier talking about the influence of the traditional institutions. Yes, you know, people are very funny that if you are not careful, all these powers assigned to that traditional institutions might be misused. Taking, for example, the case of Sanusi Lamido, it was becoming an issue between him as emir and the governor Ganduje then. It was becoming a problem because the moment Sanusi says this, the people follow. The understanding is that is our king. They were following how it should be, how it has been in the past, like the Sola have been emphasizing that Kabiyesi, the traditional rulers should be the one to say that, oh, this is it, and it is it. But of course, we are going to have the break of law and order if this is not checkmate. That is number one for me. But let me now ask you, Kabiyesi, or maybe I will throw my question open. The issue of politics, succession disputes have been in the domain of traditional institutions. They have been in the center of all of these things. And, you know, going by the modernization, the way things are being done now, how best do you think the traditional institution can manage the situation as it is now? Because they have political issues to deal with, they have succession disputes. Like Balake would say, oh, this is a community without Oba. To install another, you are having a case at Bagura now, Prince, and you are yet to fix a new traditional ruler there. There has been issues. So these are kind of, there are a lot of disputes. The one that is meant for it, and all of these things. So how do you manage this situation, considering the modernization age that we are in?
We should just remember something that is very important. In the olden days, they used slaves to trek from Odiegba to Abeokuta. And if anybody died in the village, you have to carry him to the town. It's not like that again. Civilization contributed a lot of things now to what is going on. You know, when we're talking about kings, we have the real one. That is where, like me and others, we are under Alaki of Egbaland. It's number one. We have Ulum, number one, and others like that. But the problem, when you have a lot of children, you have good ones and bad ones. You have the one that will listen, you have the one that will not listen. Look at in the north, about what you just said about Sanusi. In the north, they so much believe in their king that whatever he says, no government can change it. They don't even care to that. We can't do that here because due to civilization. And in the east too, they do the same thing. But if you can sit down and check the number of kings in the number of Obi in the east and number of emir in the north, compared to us here, it's so sad.
Limited.
That is why you have a lot of
every community wants to have the traditional ruler now.
And it will be nice. Alaki cannot be there, like I have an issue. Somebody is saying Oniro is the prescribed authority of Owodiegba. When Alaki Owodiegba to Alaki, Iro is not Egba, it's from Iwa. How will somebody from Iwa be the landlord of a tenant should be the landlord of the land? Alaki is number one in Egba land. Let's say we can checkmate. You know, Ballot is even better, but even Ballot now dress more than the Kabiyesi.
It's money.
And the function
he has money.
He has money. He has money.
I think the traditional institution is becoming a duty. Everybody wants to.
I just want to add this.
It's so sad.
Okay, don't you think that the traditional institutions should maybe challenge this in maybe with law? You know, under the law now. You should challenge the modernization of the traditional institution. It shouldn't be modernized. it should just remain traditional. Let it be traditional. We will know that this we want tradition. We will go to custodians of
you
tradition.
see what you say now. Look at civilization. If a king dies now, they say if it's a Christian, they should take him to church. If it's a Muslim, is that tradition? That's no more tradition. You know?
That's why I said they have
religion and tradition should not be our problem.
Hello, if you want to be
traditional institution, it should be traditionalist, and it should be very traditional.
Just go and be a man.
People are
that's I think we are going forward. Yes,
going forward and looking ahead now, like we are talking about so many things now. We've been able to look at the bad, the good, the problem, the solution, and the ugly. But going ahead, do you think, I want to talk to you, Prince, as a public affairs journalist, and I know you to be a researcher, you understand what we're talking about here. Looking ahead, what reforms do you think are necessary to strengthen traditional institutions? Do you think, for future relevance, yes, for future purpose, we need to look at the best way to do things? So what are those reforms? Maybe the government should be in charge of making the law. Maybe, there should be a framework that allows them, do things better. We are not more having the selection of the Obas through Oracle, where the Oracle will say, okay, Shegun ni Obakan, let's go and pick Shegun, even from the bush where Shegun is, we are not having that any longer. It is the Richard Guest crown that we have now. So what kind of reform do you think we should get so that we'll be able to talk about all-round development of our, of our society?
The first reform should be rule of law. I'm a trained lawyer. The first reform is rule of law in such a way that there's a clear core separation of power between the local government that is empowered to make over and the state government. We'll give you an example of what happened in the Oyo State. The interference of a governor in who becomes Oba. Meanwhile, that's not the function of the governor, it's the function of a local government. Because they believe that the chairman of local government or the secretary of local government come from that community. So they should know better who and how they want to crown a king. So interference of governor should be checked. So rule of law is very, very important. And at the same time, you need to have what we call cultural consciousness back. If you want to be an imam, you are an Afa, you are a Muslim, don't go near the throne. So if you want to be a reverend, a Christian, don't go near the throne. You can't bring the holy oil
to the throne.
So what they are doing there is purely cultural and traditional. So whatever you want to do, you cannot be Oba without going to a city. You cannot be Oba without having Oracle that will select you. You cannot be an Oba without the Akobadias making you the Oba. So all these things can bypass them. But because of the interference of people in government, and of course people that are Muslims and Christians, they have bastardized the process and the reality. So this must be curbed. And another one that you need to also look at is that the orders should be ordered. The balance should be a balance. What I mean by that is that, they are the custodian of even land. They should not bring a Monile who is not having anything to the throne to be Oba. Because if you bring a Monile to the throne, he will sell the whole land belonging to your throne. So he will sell the throne. So please, this should be regulated. We know the Omoba. We know and we know ourselves. They should not bring an alien to the part and parcel of us because governor or somebody has interest. So please, this should be called if you want the traditional institution to be strengthened and to be powerful the way they used to be in the olden days.
But you know that the way things are now, there is no way you can separate the traditional institution from the government. Because the way we operate with the law and with the civilization,
there's a way. There must be boundaries.
Everything.
There must be boundaries.
It is not the law that supposed to
boundary is there in the UK. Boundary is there in UK. Scotland.
Calm down. But you know that traditional rulers have been in existence even before the law. We started from there. So now, why are we using the law again to to now set boundaries for them. They are the ones that are supposed to set boundaries for the lawyers, like those and the custodians of law. Because law does not concern them. They are traditionalists. Yes, okay,
there is a boundary. You know, I will talk about the back because I'm a mama. When you want to be king, the people in your community will select you, take you to Ogboni's house. Because we have Ogboni, that's the head of all the villages. From Ogboni will recommend you to Babalaki, which is the paramount ruler. From Babalaki will recommend you to the government. You understand? And that is how we do it in Neba. But in between about what we are just talking about, some people are very influential to government, or they do something one way or the other. You know, when Babalaki do his own recommendation, government have their own power to do their own thing. Babalaki will be looking.
What will he do?
When the problem comes, they will come back
to him.
There's a new law that I give to the governor. The governor now gives the power to the paramount ruler, that whoever they want to be king, the paramount ruler must sign. Therefore, I will say there is a boundary. The government in Ogun State are doing that now. You know, there was a lot of problems in the past that they tried to checkmate, and it's going on fine now. That the power now goes back to our paramount ruler. You understand, to checkmate. Even now, there's a law in Ogun State that if you are not up to 8 to 10 years under Ballotship or whatever, you cannot be promoted to be a coronet order. Even thinking of part 2 or 4 class. Therefore, that enough reduce people rushing to be a king and all that stuff. You know, if you can follow it up, it will be better. Therefore, I think we have boundary in Eba and Ogun State as a whole. Okay,
let's talk about the challenges as a king, Kabiyesi. You've been in the saddle of that, on the throne for decades now, and you can talk about how it has been, with you being a king. What are the likely challenge you want to talk about as a king, whatever?
I would not like to. My brother say a lot of things. They must give us a role in the government, because we are the closest people to our people. Before I came here now, about 4 or 6 people are waiting. I pay school fees. I help them. They have no heat. I have kids.
Okay, you are just doing it.
Okay. Some people say they have no heat. If I have rice up here, I'll give them.
Okay, you're doing it on a compassionate ground. Okay.
That is why I'm advising the government that they have to give us a role. There must be a special money that will be given to us to cater for our people. There's a lot of people complaining, they haven't here, they want to pay their house rent, they drive them out. My husband beat me, he says I cannot sleep in the house. I will let them sleep in the palace.
That is your duty.
That's the Yes, we want the government to give us special allocation for that. Because they don't go to all these chairmen. Some of them live where in their local government. They always go and come back in the morning. In the night, you know what we're going through. There was an incident. Somebody stole a phone. They came to me, they wanted to kill themselves, they stabbed themselves, and I have to, around 11:30, I followed them to that guy's house. Then we searched the phone, and we saw the phone under the mattress. I collected the phone, I gave it back to the owner, and I called police. Don't let us go there. When they call police at that time, they will not even answer it. Therefore, there must be something
that makes the traditional rulers, that makes them the authority they really are.
Like me, I work with my local government chairman.
Okay.
But you must assist us with money. Everything, it's not easy to be a king.
You need financial
challenges. And some kings A lot of things.
Oh, it's no longer easy to do things. It's too easy. They are the one in charge. Money was not involved. They do a lot of dispute resolution and all of that.
To start from palace. Because there should be the one in charge of community policing.
Because I want to say that we have our Motekun already, and that should be their own police. To palace, we have to have to wrap up.
There must be person to check them. When you talk about Amotekun, even police, everybody needs to be checking it because there's a lot of abuses.
Okay, thank you so much, Kabesi. And before we call it a day, because our time is fast spent on the program today, in one word to our guests, Kabesi and Prince Razak, you look at a general overview of the situation in the state and the traditional institution. What will you say has been, are we on the verge of growth or development, or we are still not where we should be?
Developing.
I think I will talk first because our Bible in your mouth. Let me wrap it up. What we should do now is we have to commend our governor because he has given the concerned authority to the power ruler now. They will be the one to choose whoever that want to become king or Ballot in their domain. Before it wasn't like that. So this is checkmating. So we want to implore our governor, who is also a prince himself, to ensure that the traditional institution is empowered to stand on their own, to help the government in terms of security, in terms of the community development, this and social development. This must be done in such a way that there won't be issues the way we are having issues in Boko Haram region, because it was those that they failed to train, they now became another problem. So we need to empower our others and Ballot so that they will resolve issues within their community, not allow it to snowball to something they cannot control, because that is what we are doing here today. If you allow all these things to snowball, it will be out of control.
Thank you so much. Kabesi, your last
I will not lie to you. I give it to the governor because the new law, the strictest new law is just very good. Because they give all the power back to the paramount rulers to do the right thing. And at the same time, I will advise all the Kabesi, it should just be our brother's keeper, because a lot of things is happening in the community now in terms of drugs. The way they are taking drugs, the young ones, the future is not bright at all. And at the same time, I give it to governor because I don't like to. The governor is giving us extra money. You understand? Every month. I will not lie. Governor is doing that, and
you should continue to play your part.
We don't have choice than to completely our part.
Thank you so much, Kabesi.
But we say we are doing good in terms of.
And we are on the verge of more development. Thank you so much, Kabesi. Prince, it's nice having you on the conversation this morning. Thank you so much for being part of the show. And we hope that when we call on you again, you also be here to, chip in your own understanding of the topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, today's discussion reminds us that while societies evolve, the institutions rooted in culture and history remain vital anchors for development, unity, and identity. The traditional institution, of course, in Ogun State is not just a relic of the past, but it is a living structure. It's on that note that I say goodbye on the show today. Join us again next week for another interesting episode on Roundtable. Until then, stay blessed and remain law-abiding. Support our traditional rulers to be able to carry out their roles properly.